Alrighty, we are live. Welcome to Worldwide Stock Car Chat on Zoom. I'm your host, Greg Gaub. The gang is all here with Gio and Luff and Don and Phil and Jeremy and John and Mike and Garth and Wayne and other people. Let us talk slot cars. We'll start with show and tell. I'm going to do a quickie little thing, not very fancy or impressive. Uh, just kind of a reminder. Where's my gosh darn tabs? There we go. Okay, so this is just kind of, I was asked for yet another thing for the Harbor Freight box, so I figured I'd kind of just show all the things. So there's the original car tray that takes place of the containers. Those hold four 132nd cars. Then I think second was the front panel filler slash work tray. That'll hold a 124th car and a bunch of little pockets for various bits and pieces and parts and whatnot. Then there's the bottle organizer that fits nicely into the top on one side, or if you mirror it, it can be on the other side if you prefer. The latest thing is the controller only holder version of the thing that goes on the side of the box using dovetail shaped cleats screwed to the side of the box. So the whole thing can be removed, leaving only the cleats that aren't going to get knocked off because they're only as deep as the ribs are there on the side. So this is basically just a flat thing with the thing that it hooks on the cleats only to hold a controller. If you don't want a bottle slash can slash roll of tape holder on the side of your slot car box, you can print one of those or have me print one of those. I'm always open to new ideas for things to go in here. People have made suggestions like a light of some kind. If I find a good cheap light and a good way to do it on there, I'll definitely do that. But yeah, if anybody has any cool ideas, shoot them. Well, I'll see what I can do. That's all there is to that. Gio's got his
I
hand
can
up. What
send
would you like to
you
show today?
I can send you pictures of my light.
I remember a lot of the details of your light.
The
I think
the
I should
issue
just.
with the issue with my light is that it's fragile. If you're careful with it, there's no problem. But if you try to
Mm,
slam it back in the box, you're going to break it the first time you do it. So I'm very reluctant to definitely not try to sell it. But it's easy to
yeah,
do and it works fine. But like I said, it can be fragile and you've got to be very careful with it.
yeah, that'll definitely be that'll be top of the list of design requirements is, easy to install, easy to procure, easy to print, and not gonna break easy.
Maybe I'll send it to you and maybe you can look it over and see if you can improve it so it's not like that because it works well.
Yeah, and a link to the light you used.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
All right, go ahead, Gio.
Yeah, so before I move into this, a couple of things. So 2 o'clock, sorry, in 1 hour, I have to move on. So this is show and tell. It's a live PC Lab calendar view. So it is all on my machine. So it's not the recount of the race in Singapore. So that will be going in the other segment, right? But if we don't have time, it's fine. I can do the following week. Then coming back to your ideas about your career stuff. So it's not really ready to an add-on for your career, but I was thinking more about some ideas. So when I'm traveling, I put all my gear, cars, parts, blah blah blah, blah like in plastic box that I kind of spread around my luggage because I don't want to go through check-in and then people, oh, what the fuck is this? Can you make it run? Right? So yeah, so basically I was thinking that when I get there, then it's a fucking nightmare to take this stuff to the truck or come back or whatever. So I was thinking something maybe collapsible that then you can kind of, mount and become some kind of, portable things where you can slide in the, I don't know, Sistema box or whatever I might have. Anyway, so, or something even soft that then I can put some kind of more rigid containers. Anyway, so
What do you
just like
use for what do you use for the individual cars? Do you use jewel cases or
small,
bubble wrap or?
Yeah, so basically I have like I use a Sistema container, small one. Depends how many cars I'm taking. So if it's one, it's one where it just fit there, and then I put it around with some kind of foam, uh, bubble wrap of foam stuff, so that I try to, avoid any kind of movement.
Yeah.
I think, as I said, going to the track is a pain in the butt because then I try to fit everything in my kind of backpack that I use for my laptop and stuff. So usually. I mean, most of the times I'm lucky enough that, Wayne or other guys are there with the proper kind of, toolbox. So I don't need to carry a lot. But sometimes when I'm by myself, especially when I do the testing for this and other thing, it's a bit of a mess. So anyway, so if you guys have some ideas or whatever you want to suggest at one point or another, I kind of would be open to any recommendation. So okay, and I believe that you're gonna make thousands of dollars with that because I think there are so many people that travel so far away for racing that anyway. Okay, so after the last race in Singapore, I decided I'm gonna hit the bullet and buy the bloody license for PC lap counter. Now I will not so I just got the license yesterday. I've not had proper time to play around with it. I not even like put on next to the track and kind of test it. And the manual is awful because it's like maybe 10,000 version ago. So it doesn't give all the ideas. So basically maybe we can unpack something here together for a bit. I mean, I don't want to take too long. But I know that Mike and Greg, you guys have played with this. So okay, so first thing, how do I select the kind of columns that I want? Because I know that there is bloody just a second that there is
You have to just drag the width of them down to nothing. So you can drag the lines between the columns like a spreadsheet, but you can't turn a column off. I think you might
okay.
be able to rearrange them
I
in
already
the
done. I already done that. Okay, so but actually I did it the stupid way. So I opened. I didn't try that. So I opened the kind of settings
display.
display, and then I went to zero the bloody thing. Okay,
Yep.
terrible. Okay, so that's one. And I assume also that there is no way of having. I mean, there should be a way of ordering them. Can I move the column?
I think I remember something. Hold on here.
Yeah, I can move the column. I can drag them around.
Go to the display view again, where you change the settings. Yeah. Is there a move up or move down or anything like that?
I try to look for it. But actually, what
Yeah.
happens? So what I did is I can click on like fuel meter here. Seems that I can move them around. I can drag it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Then my kind of especially for kind of mic around the fuel usage and fuel simulation. Maybe I don't know if you, Greg, also have played around with that. So my understanding is that you cannot change the size of the fuel tank or the fuel cell. It's fixed.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
In the car settings, right?
Actually, you can change it in the race menu
Oh, when you're setting up a race, you can set it
when
in
you're
there.
setting up a race.
New race.
Yeah. If you go into drivers, there's general and then there's drivers and stuff. Yeah, there you go. On the right-hand side, you can change it there. Only if you have fuel on can you change that though.
I'm
You
impressed
have
about your knowledge of this system.
He's been using it.
yeah.
Okay, I can see. Okay. And these are
Yeah, you
100,
can
so these are 100%, these are fuel 100 means 100% of that tank limit, I would assume.
actually that's liters.
Yeah, but it's the fuel is 100. The fuel is in percentage. The tank limit is in liters,
So can I
right?
do 1,000
Yeah.
liters? Yeah, I can do 1,000.
You can't do
I
more
got to
than
look at it.
1,000%.
Okay.
It's
Anyway.
too small for me to see right here, but
No,
I
it's
think
fine. It's fine. I mean, I can play around. I can play around with that. So if I have a tank limit of 1,000, what happens if I click OK?
so. How many laps do you go normally about before you guys need a full tank?
I would say a good 70, 70,
70 laps.
70.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, and you're doing oxygen, right?
correct.
Because they're different between oxygen and SSD for sure. Let me get my laptop up and I'll give you the numbers
It's okay.
that
I mean,
use.
don't worry. I can play around with it. Then the other thing that also I don't understand properly, and I'm not kind of mess around with it too much, is the movements. So basically, if you look at the car, fuel consumption is based on a total of X number of throttle position equals to 1
Right.
liter.
That's what I was going to get you the number for.
Okay.
It's in oxygen, it's like 30,000. It's crazy. I played with it for a while. So let me get my laptop and I'll get you the number. So at least you have a starting place.
Yeah.
For,
So basically,
for
okay. So but what I'm assuming here, then each of so if I go from 0 to 100% of the throttle, if that stuff is ascended to 255 different values, let's say, then that one would be all kind of 255 will be counted for the liter consumption. If it's like
I don't
30,000, yeah.
hang on
Okay.
a second. Let me check it.
The main thing is that it's a whole lot higher number than you expect it to be.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
that's mainly because the slotted controllers through Oxygen have a lot finer position information. So
Right.
you're using a lot more throttle positions for the same driving. So you basically have to increase that number 10, 100, 1,000 fold in order to get the throttle positions to not burn your fuel instantaneously.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
one, I don't even know where one is. Like one's ridiculous. It's got to be like 10,000 or 20,000 or some stuff like that.
Okay.
30,000, I think, is what it is. But let me.
And
Let me
do you know the relationship between these let's say fuel consumption value here for the car, and then there is I think another one that is for I think option fuel, and then there is this other one over here. But there is basically the same thing, but I believe that this is for all cars. Do you know which one overrides the other?
All right, say again.
So when I go to settings, options, and then there go to fuel, there is the same kind of field, let's say, consumption, a total of blah, throttle position equal to 1 liter. And of course, here says also this is available per car. So I'm saying if I set up the one on the car and then this one over here, do you know which override which?
No, I don't know which one overrides, but I can tell you what I've got in here. First off, the amount that I use to get about 25 laps is 40,000. So it's crazy. and that was just by playing around with it.
Yeah,
so
but that is 1 liter,
got.
right? 1 liter.
Yeah, and it's
Burn
it's
one.
40,000 positions of the controller equals a certain number of liters, and I don't know what so it would be 40,000 of those positions would equal 1 liter. It's just a crazy number. I mean,
I think it's possible that the reason when you look into the car data where it has the fuel burning rate that we're talking about, and the default is 1, which I mentioned earlier, but I'm looking at the PC lap counter that's been on this computer. I've never used it for racing, so that the default is 1. I think probably the reason for that default being 1 and for the default in the settings that Gio was just mentioning is because the one in the settings overrides what's in the car setup, so long as the one in the car setup is 1 or maybe less. Maybe it goes with whichever one is higher or something silly like that. But I think because when I look in the settings on this computer under fuel, it says 11,000 for throttle position equals 1 liter. Whereas
Yeah,
in
I
the
have this is the
other settings,
default.
yeah. So I think that's
Okay,
the one that's going to take precedence. At
I've
least when
I've
those
got
things are,
3,000
at least when the
equals.
car is 1 and the settings is 11,000, the 11,000 is going to be the one taking precedent. Why? I don't know. I'm just saying, I think in that situation, that's the one that's going to take precedence.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the particular car settings, and I found that useful for doing parity, for a balance of performance. I can reduce that 4 or 500, and it makes a difference that you can see. So I'll play around between the two of them, between the tank size and the throttle position numbers to give me a balance of performance. I don't have an exact correlation yet, but I'm working on that. I'm trying to test it to do that, but I haven't got exact correlation yet.
You're talking about thousands of throttle positions to use a liter of fuel. Does it
Yeah.
mean then that if you could drive around and around your lap on a fixed throttle position, you would use none?
No,
This is something to
because
be
the fuel, the
If it's counting
the
throttle position changes,
right.
then if you
There's the
don't
difference.
change,
You're assuming it's talking about position changes. Whereas if you're at 50% throttle, it's sending 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will
So
be something
it'll
to kind
take
of
whatever position you set your throttle at and use that as the number. And when you reach a certain amount, then it'll use that much fuel. It's been a bone of contention because Shiggy is always bitching because he uses more fuel than I do all the time. Doesn't make any difference which car he has, he always uses more fuel. And I'm pretty sure that it's the way he uses his throttle, and it's different than the way I drive. I coast a lot more than he does through the corners. So it's been a bone of contention that way.
Yeah, okay. So this is something that we'll need to be played around with. Because during the race, Marici was racing with me. Most of the others were just by themselves, and our car was consuming fuel almost double the rate. No, double the rate. But at the end of when there is the stats about the full fuel usage, we consumed double the amount of fuel that who came first. So no matter if we were like trying to get close to the leader, I mean, there was always the fact that we had to pit before him, and he could stay out longer than us. So, and again, I don't know, if there is something related to the way in which we drive, some of the settings of the controller, for instance, because usually mine is it's in the soft settings. But I remember there was a chat on slot forum where Radsman was saying that, for instance, having higher settings in your controller in that case will use less fuel. So, again, something to be.
I remember that post. I remember seeing that myself, Gio. Yeah.
Yeah, because the controller is sending trigger position, not throttle level.
Yeah, and if yours is more aggressive, your car can more speed at the same position, basically. So,
Yeah.
which makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I think for the time being, it was.
Did you find the track call and all that stuff?
No. So I've had the time to bring the laptop nearby the truck yet. So,
Oh, okay.
but I saw that there is a for oxygen, there is a settings for, making truck call, delay and stuff. So I assume that automatically you can make truck call if the car is slow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can, and you can adjust the number of seconds the track call stays
Yeah.
off, but it's in an obscure place. It's not obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was. Yeah. I think I truck call, stop the car.
If you go to let me see. I
Yeah.
can't
I
see it.
remember that I found it. Yeah. I mean.
Oh, it's on detection. If you go to detection
Language.
and then setup,
This is the picture.
and it's down at the bottom on the left-hand side.
I don't know. I can find it. So another thing, have you done? So there is also something related to calibration. Use this a session to calibrate fuel consumption to obtain a consumption of whatever per liter per laps. Have you done anything like? Have you tried to calibrate your throttle?
No, I have not.
That's how many litres per lap of each car. That said, didn't it?
Well, per controller, I would say.
Per controller. Yeah. It doesn't know what
Well, I
car
mean, depending on the control that you use, right? Or does it for every control independently? If there are all of them, yeah, maybe you can do control independently. Yeah, detection, yes, yeah.
Yeah, detection setup and then down.
For resuming the truck call, then it's automatically, sorry, to resume racing from the truck call. Is there, so do I need
You
to
can
press the button?
you can set the position. There's a in that area around there you can set which one it was. I left it at pushing both buttons to get rid of the track call. Because when I tried any other way, it like was wonky and didn't work right for me. So I found a position that worked and left it.
Mike, when
So
you
it would
resume
say
after a
brake
track
plus
call,
lane change.
when you resume racing after a track call, does the power ramp up gradually or is it straight back to 100% power?
Straight back to 100%.
Oh,
And it doesn't have a countdown, which would be
oh yeah.
kind of nice, even if it's 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a
I
soft
don't know if
start.
that's available, but I haven't been able to find that. The other thing is somebody mentioned on one of my videos that the track call sound that the fire horn thing is annoying, especially when there's a lot of track calls, which there were last Monday. And, watching the video, it was something that was auditorily annoying. So I haven't been able to get rid of that yet.
Yeah, you need to switch that to the car crash setting.
What's that?
Sorry,
Yeah.
I think John said you should switch that audio to a car crash.
Yeah, I wish I could.
I can't even find track call audio option. Start segment, pause, maybe it's
There's an
pause.
audio options in the setup, I think.
I know I'm looking at them all. Race end, lap
Really?
flip, resume race, pace car, and low fuel, max fuel pit in, tank empty, pit out. Penalty, maybe.
Yeah, that could be it.
Let's see if I can test that. Is that the one?
There was no noise, Greg.
Well,
Did
did you
hear
go?
it?
You went
Okay.
to sound in
Well, I got to start somewhere, don't
the
I?
options?
I'm currently in the sound tab of the options window. Yes.
Okay.
And I know on that sound tab, you can click more sound in drivers, then click on the sound tab there, and it's basically you can do driver specific sound of all those same sounds, all those same sound options to trigger from. But I don't see track call anywhere, so it might be under a different name. You said it's some kind of siren sound.
Yeah, it sounds like a I don't know if you heard a fire engine siren and then the blaring horn of a fire engine.
Yeah, I think I know the
You know, when
sound
you're
you're
going
talking
through.
about, but I'm not seeing it. But if even if it's not settable in the options, then actually you can just change the sound by putting a new wave file and giving it the same name. The trick is finding out what that wave file is actually named. They all are in the wave
Just the
folder.
same thing.
And what folder it lies in the
They're
structure.
all in the settings. They're all in their wave folder in the PC Lab Counter folder.
Hmm.
Countdowns, and let's see if there's a track call one. Stop and go. 3, 2, 1. Nope, not in there.
Oh,
Baud,
you know, there's sound settings in the.
Irene. Let's try this here.
We heard something then.
Are you sharing your screen? I can't see it.
I'm not. I can though. So that is, I don't know how much you heard, but it was basically just the slow siren
Yeah.
noise
What
without
what
the honking.
what waveform is that, Greg?
That one is called, it's in the wave file, it's in the wave folder under the special folder called Sirene, SIRENE .wave.
Oh, there.
Sirene 2. All right, here's a Sirene number 2. Let's see what that sounds like. That's just 3 wheels. Speedy tone 1, 2, 3. Finish applaud. Yeah. Special countdowns. Car go by fast. No,
When
nothing
I've
specific.
You
heard
could
this
record your
application running on races that I've watched on YouTube, I think I've heard a did sound. It might be a new fastest lap sound. It's intermittent and it doesn't go over with every car crossing the line or anything. But I've heard there is a sound that I associate with this software, and I know if I can hear that they're running this.
Not that
if
one.
you open that folder in Windows and then just select each of them, it should add them to like you were listening to music. So you can just go next, 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 and listen to each one.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Yeah,
This
that
is
would
already too far. I don't really want to go quite this deep anyway. So it's got to be in there somewhere, and you might have to find the actual sound in the folder, and then put something else in its place with the same name that you like better. Because I didn't see anything that said track call in any of those screens. But it might be like
It might be in
pause.
pen.
Yeah, let's see.
or
Anyway.
use the sound recorder on Windows and record your own.
Oh, that's just pause.
You can save it as a WAV file.
Yeah.
Yeah. You looks dangerous. You go first.
I mean, the first trick is figuring out exactly which wave sound is being played.
Yeah.
And that'll take some time that we're not going to spend live on the chat. All right. Gio got the answers he needed. Mike, are you ready to do show and tell?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I succumbed to LEB's sales. So 40% off. And
Nice.
I'll start off with the best news first. I got the Escort, and if you look, This is one of the later versions of it. It's not a 60s type Escort. If you look, there's something wrong with this picture. And if you
I already know what
maybe
it is, so
this
I'm not
way,
going to say anything.
yeah, okay. Anybody else guess?
Guess you're just going to have to
The
tell us.
interior looks very low.
No.
The guy's on the floor. He's sitting on the floor. He doesn't have a seat.
Yeah.
The hand is too fat.
No, if you look closely, look at the clear coat on the rear deck.
It's got clear coat on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we can't tell
over
that the holes are filled.
the
Yeah, we
holes
can't
are
tell.
filled with clear coat. The
Yeah.
wing is missing.
Yeah.
So I contacted LEB. They requested a picture. I showed them a picture. They're sending me a new car and keeping
Wonderful.
this one.
I'm surprised the wing wasn't just in the box like the factory worker said. I'll just throw the wing in. They can figure it out.
Well, it wasn't installed when they clear coated the car because the clear coat is over the holes.
But would they have
It
clear
actually-
coated the wing?
Yeah, the holes for the wing are clear coated over. There's a film all the way across
But
it.
would they have clear coated the wing?
Yes.
Like, is it a wing that should have been clear coated in the
Yes.
first place? Okay.
Yeah. As the front splitter is clear coated too.
Okay.
So
So
I'm
it's
sure-
paint, it's color matched to the car, not like
Yeah.
a black wing or whatever. Okay.
Right. So anyway, shout out to LEB for good service. And then, this was super dumb. This car, at first blush, is a definite POS.
Yeah.
It's got separate front wheels that are really floppy. It's and looking on the inside, it's really terrible. The body and interior weigh 26 grams for a body this size, which is ridiculous. So we'll see. But the reason I got it was for a set of, well, I'll show you the third one first. I got one of the Jags.
Oh yeah.
And of course, it's got the ugly front windows without the wing window in it, which is a faux pas, apparently. But it's actually not a terrible car. So I got it so that I could run a Goodwood style
Yeah.
race.
60s Peugeot.
Can you see all of these? The Volkswagen, the Jag, the T-Bird, and the Mini.
All skill look great.
Hey,
What's
Mike,
that?
that Swift Slots guy does a YouTube called
Yeah.
Swift Slots. He recently did a kind of a rebuild hop up on one of those minis. You might
Yeah, I
check it
just
out.
watched part of
Pick
that
up
this
some
morning.
tips. Yeah, he has some pretty good tips on that.
Yeah, that one though is completely different. This has got a full chassis in it.
Oh yeah,
So his is an older one, and it's also the Mini Clubman, I think, with the fenders, the larger fenders. So this is going to be a real challenge to get moving at all. But my idea with this is to use them as an IROC with 4 different cars, and then everybody gets 30 laps in each car if there's 4 of us for 120 laps. And so at 40 laps, I stop and we all reprogram the cars. So you put your car where it was before, but it's a different car. And with digital, we can do that. So it'll be kind of interesting to see. I've done it before and it works pretty well. But it gives you an instant winner, whereas a lot of times with IROCs, you switch lanes and stuff like that in analog, and it'll give you a winner that way. But this is the guy who crosses the line first wins, and that's kind of cool. So anyway, that was my plan on that. But having the prices go back to 2015 levels was a real ooh. It makes me want to do Scalextric again, because mostly if they're 65 or 70 bucks, it's not worth spending the time on them and sticking the money into it. Because if if you stick a set of wheels and a gear on it, you're approaching $100 for a scale extra car with that chassis, and that's like really, I'm not going to do that. But for $40, it's under $40 actually. It's not so bad. You can put a set of wheels on it and stuff, and it's still not a terrible screw off from that standpoint. So
Isn't
Anyway,
it a strange time
Brando.
of year to be? Isn't it a strange time of year to be having a sale?
it was October's sale, so but they still have them, have some of them on sale at that. So it was
Probably
a nice,
probably cleaning out stuff to get ready for Black Friday, I would assume.
yeah, could be, especially scale extra.
So Bendel is the same kind of car on sale for kind of I don't know, 35 pounds or something like that.
Well, normally they're 60 pounds, I think, if I remember correctly. So it's a 40% off deal from the original price, which I didn't look at what it was, but most of them are $65 these days. So it's significant savings, and it made it worth it for me to do that. I can get a cars at a reasonable price and have a good set of another class.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Brings them down to more reasonable. Yeah. Thank you, Rob.
£40.
Yeah, you look at
£50.
$40 for or 40 pounds for it, and then you look at the exchange rate and you go, oh, wait a minute. Last year wasn't so bad. This year, not so much. Okay, that's all I got.
Got to be the perfect car for me to buy it. Scale Electric anymore. And I fell for one of those Mini Coopers. I fell for that the Napa version of that Mini Cooper.
Oh,
And I know everything you mean about that car.
oh Jesus.
You know
It'll
what? It's
be-
quite surprising because the 70s and 80s minis were really quite competent cars.
The real life
Well,
ones?
yeah, but as a slot car, it's
No, the 70s and 80s scale electric minis.
That's what I was
Oh.
about to say. I bet those earlier ones are better cars than these ones are.
yeah, for sure. Well, for one thing, they're almost all of them have the extended fender flares, and these do
Yeah.
not. So these are, very narrow plus tiny tires. So it's
I remember that
43 millimeters wide, outside to outside.
Did you manage
Wow.
to chip them? Have you stolen the chip?
Oh my
Not yet.
God,
I
no.
do have. I'm going to put the this style of chip in for SSD.
Okay.
That's an awful lot of stuff to go in that little car.
What's that?
The Napa one.
That's an awful lot of stuff to fit under that little tiny car.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm also
The Napa
going
one
to
does have flair.
put a different motor in it. Put a 14,000 RPM motor in it, because the 25,000 motor makes it impossible to drive.
It's
Mhm.
not. You just got to set your controller.
Oh, and yours
differently.
is the wide one, even, Greg.
I was gonna say, I think, assuming yours doesn't have these fender flares on them, then that's
Right.
Yeah, that's the one that I have. It doesn't. I'm sure it doesn't really make that much of an actual difference. I'm not about to. I think I did consider taking the magnet out, but there are so many other issues with that car. I was like, no, this is not going to get raced, so it might as well just stay stock. John's showing his off.
Oh yeah,
Is that the new one? Oh, that's the old one. Yeah. See, that would be
yeah, that's the old style.
that would be so much better. I should have just stuck with that.
You see, even
Nice.
that one's not the one I had.
Yours is even older.
No, I don't think so. I'm not. I can't be certain. But mine were not like. I had two different chassis under my two minis, and one had the what do they call it? Super sledge? No, they call the chassis super sledge. It had that long motor that was in the Super Sledge chassis. Can't remember what that's called now. Johnson? Don't know.
Interestingly,
Open
What was
motor,
that?
Yeah, it was an open motor.
RX.
RX, that's the one.
Yeah.
I had
So
one
it was
like
a
that, and
power
then I had
stage.
one with a Johnson in it. They were both quite good. The one with the Super Sledge in was slightly better. Super Sledge, RX, I should say. They had a magnet, didn't they? They used a motor magnet.
Most
yeah, it's going to
electric
be
motors have a
interesting to
magnet.
try and find some wheels for this thing.
If you want wheels, contact Colin Spark at RS Slot Racing. He has made some mini wheels, scale 10-inch, and he also has Ortman urethane tires to fit those. And they come with mini light inserts.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Do you have
Thanks,
to
John.
change the
Yeah.
guide flag? You have to change
Sorry?
the guide flag.
Sure.
Do you have to change the guide flag when you switch to those scale 10-inch wheels?
Not really. I did, but
I
you
would-
don't have to.
Yeah, I
Okay.
will probably do that anyway because I despise the guides. I already cut the portion out that causes it to be so sloppy. It's not quite so bad, but the guides are problematic and keeps it up in the air quite a bit. So I usually play with the guide and put a decent one in. So it'll be an interesting challenge.
That would be if I really wanted to race that car. I was like, oh man, I gotta race this car. It's gotta drive nice. I would start learning how to do brass chassis soldering.
That thought occurred to me.
Be like,
Believe me.
that's the only way. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Are you all done, Mike?
Yeah, I'm all done.
All right. Any other show and tell out there? What you got, John Weber?
Somebody mentioned, I think it was last week, about an Aston Martin that raced at Le Mans in 1963. I think Mike suggested it was a Project 214. That was it. That was the Lindbergh 1/32 scale kit that I had. I picked this up used and I've disassembled it since then. But it seems to be a little on the narrow side compared to say a Revell Ferrari 250 GTO. It's about the same length and the overall body shape's really similar. It doesn't have the Aston Martin. It's hard to tell in this image because the radiator opening is not painted, so you can't. It's red plastic, so it's difficult to tell. But it doesn't. The Zagato model looks a little like this, but it has a regular Aston Martin shaped grille or radiator opening.
It's also shorter, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, maybe I don't know, but there was a fellow. Let's see if I can share a photograph I picked up here. Un momento, por favor. Nah, we don't fool that now. I found on the slot forum where somebody who goes by the screen name of Zagato had taken one of these and modified it, and then he decided that wasn't good enough. The body became far too heavy after he had to do the filling that he felt like he needed to do, changing the shape of the tail and lots of things like that. So he made a casting. He made a casting of his model that he modified, which he used as a prototype, and that's what he cast from. And there are some really he has a couple of really nice looking little bodies, and I think he sells them. They're resin, cast resin. And I think, of course, this post was from 2009, so he may be dead. I don't know, but they were really, really nice looking. You got them the correct color and the correct numbers and that sort of thing for the 1963 Le Mans.
Yeah, it's
car.
a gorgeous car.
Oh yeah, they are. They are really pretty. But I don't know if this one will ever be much of anything beyond what it is right now, other than a simple slot car. But this fellow's stuff was really, really pretty. And it's worth checking out if you're still interested in that. But
yeah,
anyway,
Was selling them on Pendle, so you could find them as a kit. I think he had 5 or 6 different kits of different cars. Because there was also Ferrari short wheelbase, and then maybe another Aston Martin. But I think now they are out of stock. They've been out of stock for a while. And they're really nice because I think that they even have a photo etched parts that go in, like in the window frame. And
oh man. So he really went to town on it as far as modeling goes.
yeah. And one other thing was I showed this. This is a Pyro Ferrari at Bugatti Type 59 Grand Prix car. This is the version with fenders. I think it won the Monte Carlo race or something like some Monte Carlo rally or something like that back in the day. And anyway, I found Cincy Slots had Le Mans Miniatures wheels that were that come on their model of the Type 57C, 57G. It's a tank. It's the one of the tank versions.
Yeah.
And these wheels came on that particular model. I had the model, but so I scored this set of wheels and tires, and they fit really, really well. They're the axle's a little long, but I haven't done any trimming or anything. They're just kind of popped on there. But that's going to be a neat looking little rig.
Yeah, it's a nice car.
Yeah. And that's
Just
So you get a driver, John.
I do not have a driver at the moment.
But Mr. Kit probably has something that'll work.
Yes, he
just
probably does.
before
John has
you
everything.
see that. Sorry.
Yep.
It's a tiny little wee picture, but just for anyone, that's a typical 15x8 wheel on the right hand side, and those are the RS wheels, 10-inch wheels. You can't really see the inserts, but they're nice little mini lights, and you get 4 Ortman urethane tires for it. So rather than putting great big honking ugly 15-inch wheels on the Mini, these work great. Great quality, all done, so you can make a Mini work a Mini.
For
That would be
3/32 axis.
really good finishing touch for those models.
Well,
You want to look like a real Mini.
You can't probably see this either, but that's one that I did for a guy with those wheels and tires on. So
Was
nice.
that a schematic body?
sorry,
What was the body?
that's up there. It's an old Scale Electrics Mini.
Okay.
Sans any fender skirts.
Yep.
That
3/32
isn't the,
axles. I assume those wheels were for 3/32 axles.
Yep.
so
What kind of
Chris,
chassis have you got under it, Chris?
Sorry,
What
Did you
what
change
kind
the
of
chassis?
is under it?
I got too many people here. I can't hear. What?
Go ahead, Mike.
What kind of chassis is under it?
That one?
Yeah.
I made a brass plate chassis for it.
Okay.
so that wasn't the Airfix body by chance, was it, Chris?
It was not. It was a Scale Electrics.
Gotcha.
Could be the same though.
Yeah, it didn't come in that livery. I like the cream with the black top, and so I stripped the old one down and redid it. So
Many,
All
many
right.
years ago, when I actually ran autocross, this guy in our local SCCA club had a Mini that looked just like that, cream with the black top. And
Yep.
he could make that thing really go. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
he was the nicest guy, the just absolutely nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And he could make that Mini go. Almost impossible to beat, except by a Formula V or something like that.
Back in the day, I used to race against those with a 3-cylinder 2-stroke Saab 96.
Cool.
And I could keep up with them pretty well.
See, those cars had 15-inch wheels, didn't they? 14
Yes.
or 15?
15. Yeah.
So, but basically used the same
It was
tires as a Volkswagen.
Yes. Yeah, they were, and they were bolt on rather than nut on, bolt through tire wheels, and they were an Achilles heel. Ask me how I know. At speed on one of the autocrosses, I collapsed the front wheel. The bolts were in and it was tight, but the wheel broke out from the stress of doing autocross. So, yeah, came through a series of slaloms, and at the end, usually I pull a handbrake for a 270-degree corner at the bottom, so I just slide the back end around, and the right front wheel collapsed, and I'm going, oh no!
So did
Toward
you
a
ever
building. Stop
did
before
you ever
that.
run
but
any of the Sonnet alloys?
No. I was a poor racer, but let me tell you.
Me too.
All
Okay.
right. Any other show and tells from anybody? Hearing none, let's do Club Corner. I'm going to do my Club Corner real quick. As some of you may remember, this past weekend was the Scale Racing 24 hours at the Tacoma Scale Racing Center, Allen's establishment, 132slotcar.us. I do not participate in the 24 hours, but of course, about half of my analog club guys, were on one team or the other. But I go for the support races because they're just regular sprint rotation races, and I can handle that. The very first race on Thursday night was Revo Slot GTs, and I raced my blue and yellow Corvette. I keep forgetting Verano or something is the main name on the livery. Anywho, the way that Alan runs these races is basically box stock, and he even requires you to take your rear tires off, and he gives you fresh tires to put on. So I did not run the Revo Slot GT car that I'm running in the current Analog Club series because I didn't want to have my at least trued tires torn off. So decided to run the Corvette. It actually performed fairly well. So I got I say 8, 9, 10. I got 10th out of what is this, like 28 cars or 29 cars or something like that, 30. Anyways, a bunch of cars. I call that pretty good given the competition was fairly stiff. Not unhappy at all with that. And I think this is not that. Yeah. This is the final order for the BRM. So the second race of the Thursday night was BRM GT1, which is basically either the Porsche 911 or the McLaren, because that's the only cars BRM makes in that class. And I was running my beautiful blue and yellow Marlboro inspired livery Porsche 911 that my friend did the paint job on. I've shown that in the past. The last time I ran that car I think it might have been last year or the year before, tore the gear to shreds because I hadn't done any run in or setup or anything. Basically just plopped it on the track. It worked on a 9-volt. So I thumbs up and stuck it on the track. So I did actually better this year than I did that year. which I didn't come in last that time. But anyways, this time I came in even further not back as before. So what is that? 14 or 15 or something like that. 20 maybe. I don't know. Don't care. Not last. That's all that matters. And here's the actual finishing order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
19,
12.
I think.
That'll work. Good enough for me. Yeah, so it was just fun.
18.
One of the things, if you've never been to a race run by Alan Smith, prepare for delays and winging it when it comes to how the race is actually set up. As far as these races, the 24 is much more structured in time, but these are a little bit more up in the air. So these actually, the reason there were only 110 laps out of 14 lanes is that the heats were 1 minute. So basically,
Oh,
each
jeez.
person had 1 minute on each lane because this was the second race of the night, and that first race with the Revo slots didn't start until like an hour later or more than the intended start. And I think those we did 1 minute heats as well, or two. I think we might have done 2 minute heats for these. But anyways, these were short races because he ran out of time. And in fact, he took a vote after the Revo slot races. He's like, okay, do we want to do the BRM races, or do we want to let people do some more practice for the 24? Fortunately, most people voted in favor of this because I sure didn't want to just leave after one race of two that I came for. So yeah, even with 1 minute heats, I was happy. I just came there for the fun anyways. I'm not like mad that I didn't get up here in the top three. One of our other club members got up there anyways. Uh, that's the finishing order for these guys, which was Friday night. We did BRM Le Mans Classic cars, and this is my Sunoco 512. Surprisingly, the only Sunoco 512 on the track, which I was surprised by. And very few duplicates. In fact, I think maybe that Gulf 917, or no, that's 512. No, that's a 917. That's the only one that was duplicated. Looks like there's 4 of them on the track. No Sunoco's, so I'm okay with that. I had the prettiest car on the track for both the BRM GT and the Le Mans Classic. So less bad in the Le Mans Classic. Happy camper. Moving on to, and then of course 24 hours of BRM Group C cars that have their new modular metal aluminum chassis, whereas their old Group C cars were just giant, cheap 132 cars with terrible plastic chassis. Might end up getting a Group C car at some point with that better chassis. Anywho, they did that for 24 hours, and then on Monday night we raced again. I forgot to take pictures of the cars, but this is for the IROC race where we ran the BRM, so 1/24th scale Group 2 cars, which are, because they're small cars, they fit on the 1/32nd scale Scalextric track that we were racing on with a hair's breadth between them. So, don't slide too much or don't be on the outside of somebody who has a habit of sliding too much. I managed to keep my car on all 4 lanes pretty much most of the time. So that's why I came in first. But as we always say, a win's a win, even if it happens because other people crashed more. And then for the Revo slot races, I managed to squeeze in a second place against one of our best drivers. So I consider that a first place. He's one of those guys that goes fast and never comes off. These were the GT Revo slot GT 2 cars. I was running the Lister Storm, which they have accepted into that class. Woot. That's pretty much all there is to say. Anybody else want to talk slot car races? Mike?
Yeah,
Go for it.
I've got some photos. If I can get them up. There we go. Okay,
Mhm.
I did some of the lesser known Can-Am cars that I have. Now I'm not sure that the Alpha T33 ever went in a Can-Am race. But it's a sports car of the same era, so I allowed it. And I don't race these very much. They actually turned out fairly well.
Well,
The
sorry,
fastest
Mike,
car,
but you have a headless driver.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
no.
lost his head sometime during the race.
Well,
I
being a
glued it
race car
on since
being a
then.
race car driver, it didn't affect him at all, so that's good.
No. He could definitely poke his fingers from both ways. So
I think
at any rate, as you can see here, the Alpha T33 was in first. That was mine, and Shiggy was in second, and the M8B or D rather was Joel's. So that was the first race that we did. Shiggy and I battled back and forth the whole race, but I ended up I'll show you the second cars, and then I'll get you the race results afterwards. Second race we did, Ellen showed up. So we did Le Mans 1966. So we had two Ferrari 330s, P3s, and Porsche 908 and a Ford GT40 Ken Miles version. So that's the winning order. Here's the first race. I had nope, this is the second race actually. I won by 3 laps over that. And you'll notice here that Ellen has beaten Joel. And the reason is you notice the fuel situation for Joel. He got beat because he ran out of fuel on the last lap. And we did a 30-minute race rather than 125 laps. And it wasn't I was never headed in that race. I had a good stretch there and pulled out a lap and a half lead in the beginning with no problem. And I started out with the slowest car of the 4 and still managed to pull it off. So I was pretty proud of that. So normal service has been resumed as of last week when I finished second in both of them. So this is the first race. There you can see I finished 3 laps ahead of Shiggy again. That one was much more dicey. It was back and forth quite a bit. So it was interesting. But everybody had fun. But I was really impressed that Ellen was able to beat Joel. This is only I think her 4th or 5th race that she's done. And while she had a quick car, Joel did too. They were all within hundredths of a second of each other. So it was not a runaway for her. She does have a fuel advantage though. She has 150 liters in her tank as opposed to 100. So so there is that. But it worked out well, and we had a good time. Okay, that's all I got. I'll pull that down. There you
Go,
go.
Ellen.
There
All right.
was one thing that I noticed in there that was really kind of funny. Ellen went out and hit me from behind just as the ghost car was there. And she hit me, knocked me out of the slot, and I just gradually cruised over to the inside slot and kept going. You watch that, you go, wait a minute. It was like nothing there. There were a couple times it was the second race was actually quite a melee. There was a lot of offs. Joel was just losing it, and Ellen, of course, is new, so I expect that. But it was still a lot of fun. We had a good time, and Shiggy and I battled for a while, and it was still good. And there are a couple things there if you watch the video where getting through traffic is like, oh my god, that's the neatest part of digital for me is managing the traffic. Because normally, on an analog race, traffic isn't much of a big deal unless you hang the tail end out and knock somebody off or somebody does it to you. or comes off in front of you, stuff like that. But with digital, you have to play with the traffic and sometimes wait while the ghost cars get together and that kind of stuff. Or if somebody's slower, and you can sometimes jump across and get into the outside lane first and go around the guy who's going to have to go to the outside lane to get around the ghost car. And so consequently, you can, if you get him in front of him, you can make him have to stay behind the ghost car for another half lap or so. And that kind of stuff is interesting to me, that part of it. It
Like
makes
playing
it,
chess, isn't it?
oh yeah, it's much more strategy than anything else. There's a lot of it. You have to be able to drive decently, and you're always better if you stay on a track, but that's normal. That's no matter what kind of racing, it's better that way. But the fuel simulation, where there's a difference in speed sometimes of the cars, where you have to learn to manage the traffic and go into the outside lane, which is a little bit slower. You have to be able to hold that line and pass somebody, or learn how to do it, and all of that adds to the realism and the fun for me. So anyway, it was a good time. We had a good evening.
Go Ellen.
Thanks.
Alrighty, any other slot car racing, past, present, or future anybody wants to talk about?
I've got one. It's a quick one.
Go ahead.
And it involves a cultural question, I think, first. So the other day was the 11th of November. And at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November every year, we do what's called Remembrance Sunday, Armistice Day. Do Americans observe the end of the First World War?
Yeah, now
Veterans
it's
Day,
called Veterans Day.
Oh, okay. Do you do a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m.?
Not a national.
No.
Maybe some people do, but I don't know of
Okay.
anybody.
Well, we do when we always have done, and we have
It's
we have
actually
television
done at
coverage of what's going on in
11:11.
London and all sorts. Sorry, John.
It's actually done at 11:11.
11:11. That's right. The 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month.
No,
And I was
yeah, but 11:10 a.m. Believe it or not, like 11:11. Yeah, yeah. So
Is
it's all
it?
11. Yep.
Okay. Well, I found myself doing that just the other day, and in the moment silence that you're observing, you think you think about. I mean, I've recently been in recent times. I've been to the north of France and seen some of the Somme battlefield, the massive memorial that they've got to the World War II lost. But this comes back to slot car racing because you can't think about that solidly for 2 minutes. So I found my mind wandering back to other times when we've observed this moment at this time, and where I was and what I was doing. And I thought about the times that I was racing a slot car at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November. And the reason was I was doing the 24-hour HO slot car race over in Derby that used to run on that big wooden track. And we used to actually stop the event, switch the power off, observe the 2-minute silence, and at the end of the 2-minute silence, the power would go back on, and we'd resume the racing. And it just made me smile to remember that we're going back now to 2007, 6, 5, 4, and 3, the years I did it. And yeah, I just thought to myself, I can't now disconnect this event from racing slot cars anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah. And now the circuit's gone. They've cut the circuit up. I don't know what they've done with it, but I know they've cut it up and they've used pieces of it in other layouts. And it couldn't even be recreated or rerun if it wanted to now. But it was the biggest wood track in the world at the time, I believe. Made over there, flown over because it was Rolls-Royce Aero. It was flown over in pieces and sections and built over a series of a couple of years. It used to be blended with Tomy Track, HO Track, I think it was. AFX? Yeah, AFX. And yeah, we used to stop the race to observe the 2-minute silence, and I just found myself back there then. That's all I got.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
lots
no.
of there's lots of parades on Veterans Weekend, which was this past weekend, and then yesterday was Veterans Day, so national holiday for a lot of people. But otherwise, yeah, nothing like that.
Mm.
Okay, Garth, what do you got?
I just got a question for Mike Maurer. Mike, have you seen the slot invasion chip that the guy is making for Scalextric?
I thought that for Scalextric.
Yeah,
Was it a Scalextric chip or was it a Scalextric door that holds a Carrera chip?
I think I thought it was well, I don't know. I just saw something on a website that said it was a Scalextric chip. So
Yeah,
maybe
I
I'm wrong.
think what he did is he made a chip for Carrera
Oh,
that
okay.
fit the door in the bottom, the door that's here on the, you can see where the front part of it is. You see
Yeah.
that
It's called the
that
DPR
hatch
door.
there? Yeah,
DBR.
I
And
think
I'm
that's what
pretty
that
sure
was.
the brand of chip is Slot Speed, not Slot Invasion. Slot Invasion might be selling it, but Slot Speed is the name of the chip manufacturer. They've been working on it for the last year or so.
Is that a Carrera chip that fits in the door or?
Correct. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a Carrera Digital 132 compatible chip and designed to go into or small enough to fit on a Scalextric DPR door with all the necessary plugs. Obviously, it's not required that you put it on a DPR door, but that's one
Yeah.
thing it can do. Speaking of chips and digital stuff, this just popped up on Slot Forum.
Oh yes.
The creator of Davik, the French digital system, has a page now, so you can actually go and learn about the system and even possibly purchase products from them. And apparently, they're also gearing this towards model trains. They show, their electronics with slot cars and with model trains, which is interesting. I don't know a lot about Davik, but one thing that I do know is their chips are pretty small, as you can see here. I don't know how large that particular coin is, but I'm guessing it's about quarter size. So their chips are pretty small. They don't require any infrared or anything, so I'm not sure how their lane changing works, but it might be dead strips like Ninco. But this page talks about their various car chips. The translation is for needle, but this is for lane changer, flipper activation, actuation, and also the boards that go into or onto your analog controller, because that's one of the interesting things is that they use an analog controller for speed control, and then you put these boards on, and apparently they have boards that are designed to go onto an MB slot, a DS, another DS type handle, and then looks like the thing that does the smarts and lap counting and everything. So it's a whole bunch of individual components that you put together. And I'm going to read as much about this as I can to learn more about it. But if anybody is interested, then the base website name is davik.eu, not AU, but EU. And about it, at the top left corner there is a language chooser. It defaults to French, but you can choose. I think it was the Spanish, Italian, English, French, maybe something else. But if you've been curious about this Davik thing that has been elusive for so many years, now you can.
Do you know how
How's
the lane,
Go ahead, Mike.
do you know how the lane changing works on that or?
I'm like I said, I think it's Ninco style with dead strips, but I'm gonna
Okay.
start reading into it and find out. And somebody else was going to say something, Garth, maybe?
That chip said for the car it was 29 euros. What's the price? Is that the average price of chips these days?
It's
You
It's
know,
got
it's on the low end, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's a
50
Scalextric
euro.
chip cost these days?
the Scalextric chip, the best price available is from Professor Motor for I think $24.
All right.
US.
Everybody else is 29. The slotted chips are about $40 for the SSD chips and 53 for the uh,
Oxygen.
oxygen.
Yeah. That's it, middle-ish, lowish, middle lowish. It's in there. Definitely the price range of in-car chips. And the other stuff seems pretty normal price as well. In fact, I think their lane changer boards at 40 and 42 is cheaper than an Oxygen or a Scorpius lane changer board. Can't really compare the controller boards because no other system does it that way. But
Well, you need an analog controller and then the board, and the board was €100. So it's not a
yeah,
cheap
well,
controller. It's in the price range with an SCP, I would think, by the time you're done.
more than
No,
that.
more.
hold on. There's DS Racing type handle card to be integrated into a DS Racing type handle to be compatible with the Davik or analog system, $99. Digital handle card to be integrated into a DS Racing handle to be compatible with the Davik system. So I think the $99 is if you want your analog controller to still function as an analog controller, but also be able to be a Davik controller. But if you want to go inexpensive, it looks like you can put together a Davik only handle for a lot less. If you get
Hmm.
you probably need to get, a DS trigger and spring and maybe some other bits and pieces for the handle. But that sounds like, unfortunately, there's nothing to click on and there's no pictures, just
Hmm.
these descriptions. But it sounds like you could get the appropriate mechanical bits and stick that board in it and have a dedicated Davik controller, maybe.
And then there's the brain board, €155 brain board.
Yeah.
And I
That's,
don't think that's not there for any oxygen. Oh, you've got the dongle that compares to the dongle, I
that
presume.
compares to the dongle, yeah.
And the
Or
dongle's
or
really, really cheap, isn't it? For oxygen.
I mean, once you buy either you're buying the slotted version, the Oxygen V3 dongle that you pay for everything, or you're buying the version 4 dongle for cheap and then buying the license. But in the end, you pay about $80-$90 for the dongle.
Hmm.
So it's not, I mean, the prices are
Yeah.
more or less comparable, as far as a digital system compared to other similar digital systems. I don't recall the number of cars off the top of my head. I don't see any here, but I think it's like 12 or maybe 15 or something like that. It's more than your typical 6, but not quite 20 or 24 as far as numbers of cars on track at the same time.
I've
But
actually
anyways,
yet to see more than 16, I think, 14,
yeah,
16. It's really getting up there, even on a massive track then.
yeah. I was talking to actually had a fun conversation with a guy who bought the entire track. Huge, I don't remember the footprint size, but I imagine it's probably like 10 by 24, just a huge footprint of a Carrera track that had been augmented with oxygen. So he was I had to help the guy with making it oxygen compatible through a whole big rigmarole. But anyways, he finally got it set up so he could use both Carrera Ghost cars and oxygen racing cars on the same track, which is complex in and of itself. Anywho, for whatever reason, he decided that he was gonna do something else with his life, sold that to another dude, and I'm thankful because in just one conversation with the buyer of that track, I think maybe I'll get one or two calls from him again, ever, because he definitely was picking up on things a lot quicker. Uh, but I said, Oxygen can do 20 cars, but pretty much no track has enough room for that many people to be racing. He's like, this track does. So presumably the entire track encircled, with the drivers, because he didn't have the lap counting working properly just yet when he took delivery of the track and everything. But basically, once he got the track up to his place and all put together and set up and going, like that night or the next day, he had all his buddies from various other, motors had the biggest hoot and holler. He's super stoked about getting the lap counting going and bought a whole bunch of car. He said, I forget the actual number, but I think it was like, 12 or 16 Pioneer Legends cars and all the oxygen chips to go with them. So he basically is just going to
Oh
make a
my.
whole cars. He got all the cars from the guy who sold him the track as well. So it's, he's already got a bunch of cars that are already set up and controllers. So he not only bought a dozen or so Pioneer Legends cars and a dozen or so chips, but also a dozen or so Skeletric Arc controllers. And he's basically going to have, Pioneer car number one, controller number one. These go together, and he's going to have like all around the track. And next time he invites people over, it's going to be okay. Put that car on, pull the trigger, you're good. So he's going to be he said he dives deep into things, and from what I gathered while talking to him, he's already deep into things. He'll probably see this and laugh himself silly the way that I'm talking about him. Because he watches this, he goes to the forums and stuff because he caught the bug. The bug bit him hard, and he's diving down the deepest rabbit holes of slot cars and oxygen racing. So that'll be fun.
Is he close enough to you that you can race?
Oh, no. Whole other side of the country.
Oh,
I've never personally seen this track. It's always been,
got it.
pictures via email or phone calls and stuff. I'll see if I can find a picture of the track, but I don't. Not going to make you wait for it, that's for sure.
The Puerto
Well,
still
Rico
got
circuit, you get 10 along there, and it gets tough from certain positions on the podium. The Le
Yeah.
Mans circuit is the one that you could we get. I think we've got 16 podium positions off the top of my head. I don't think I've ever seen it full, but yeah, you'd get some more on, but they wouldn't be good. They wouldn't be good places to stand. You'd be imagine being stood at one end of a circuit that's the size of a sports hall or several badminton courts. It's sports hall sized. I'd love to see a really, really big race. It would be an absolute melee, and survival of the fittest would be the name of the game. But then again, once everybody's good at doing digital racing, I've seen some footage come out of Spain this week, actually. There's a user on the forum called Malafama,
Yeah.
Yeah.
very regularly seen in the Oxygen Digital section. And I've seen some of their club, and it's a Carrera circuit with, I don't know whether they're magnet cars, they might be, they might not be, but they've got a good eight or nine drivers, I think.
They
And
run
they're really good at it. They're really quite good at it.
Yeah. That's the
Carrera
circuit.
circuit. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, that's okay. That's the circuit that I patterned my second circuit off the Nordwestschleife.
Oh yeah.
It's very similar to that, the way that runs. Not quite the same, and it's not quite as big. But yeah, I just got a few laps on it this past week, and it's going to be an interesting circuit. One of the things I found interesting about that is that the slotted cars seem to run better than some of the other ones. I've got to reset the front ends on most of them for higher ground clearance because especially the scale auto hypercars tend to drag. And they work fine on the Scalextric track, but they're dragging on the Polycar track. But yeah, it'll be an interesting experiment. So I like the course. Because of I've got two hairpins in it. I think I've showed it to you guys before. That are somewhat problematic, but you got the inside of one and the outside of the other because they're opposite directions. And so everybody gets the same, no matter whether you're inside or outside lane, you still have to go through the outside of the hairpin and the inside of the hairpin. And but it's still it seems to work quite well and has quite good flow to it. Those guys, the way they drive though, are really, really good. There's very few offs considering. I would love to have that situation. Very few offs that way.
Mm.
It looks like it. Yeah, those guys are great.
Agreed. Another topic, anyone?
I've got one if nobody else has anything.
Yeah, the floor's open, dude.
I watched Braden's from Motown setup that he did on the hypercar. And I don't know, is Jim here? I haven't seen him.
He was earlier.
Yeah. I wanted to ask him. Yeah, he's here somewhere.
Great. Yep, he just popped up.
Braden did a front end setup that I found interesting. It's which one is it? Slotting Plus.
Slotting Plus Independent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you use that setup? It seems like it's heavier, and the only benefit is having independent front wheels.
Well, that is the benefit. And the testing he did, I don't want to speak for him, but I think the testing he did, he found that because the car was so long in terms of guide lead, that's one of the cars that benefited from independent fronts. And so we decided, or Motown decided, to allow, it's the only class that we allow independent fronts.
Okay.
And that's kind of the reason behind it. When he tested it, he felt that it made the car handle better, or made the car drive easier. Maybe that's a better way to say it. And so it's allowed. Now he does use the Slot Invasion or Slotting Plus kit. I did that on one car. On my other car, I went the cheap route. I took a standard axle, put a 20 thousandths brass spacer from NSR on the end, and soldered it to the end.
Yeah.
And then, so like on that side, you take the set screw out of the wheel and it freewheels. On the other side, then you screw the set screw in. So one wheel freewheels on the axle, the other one freewheels with the axle. But it costs you virtually nothing.
Yeah, well, I was wondering why he did it that way instead of the way you're describing.
I think just because the kit's available, he wanted to try it instead of trying to build something. I don't know.
Because it seems like it seemed like it would put more weight on the front end because you've got two extra collars on the outside and a lot of mucking about.
They're really light. Plus, you're not using a full axle with that. You're using half axles, so it's actually pretty light.
Well, it uses a smaller axle to bridge the two outside.
Yeah, so I don't think weight is an issue with that.
Yeah.
I've not weighed them side by side, but I don't think weight's a real issue there. If it is, it's maybe half a gram. It's minuscule. And,
Okay.
And you don't have the full axle rotating either. So there's pluses and minuses to both. I can't say that one's better than the other. The one is cheaper than the other.
Oh yeah.
Jim?
Yeah.
And Jim, the reason why you're using continue to use the full axles as a requirement, because it seems like we do that on both ends.
I didn't quite hear the exact question.
I said, are you using the full axle without the set screw going in there because it's a requirement to have a full axle, or because it seems like
No,
you
that's
just
the way
do
it
that
works.
Okay.
That's the way it works. One axle, three wheels on the axle, one wheel, three wheels with the axle. So they're independent.
And the wheel that's with no set screw, it's staying in because it's got
There's a
a
brass there's a
brass
brass spacer on the outside
spacer
soldered
on
into
the
it.
outside
Soldered
itself.
into it.
Got it. Okay.
So
All
you've
right, I
got
visualize
you've
now.
got two wheels,
Yeah,
and so
got
you
it.
attach the wheel on one side, push the axle through. Excuse me, you attach the collar's the wrong word. You attach the spacer that you soldered on through the one wheel, run it through the chassis, and then put the other one on and screw that in with a set screw.
All right, got it.
So they both freewheel. One is attached to the axle and one spins on the axle.
My
reason-
question mainly was,
It's
Go
also
ahead.
much easier to install than the Slotting Plus. The Slotting Plus kit is not an easy kit to install.
no, it looked like it wasn't. I would think that because of the tube there, and it seemed like there was a lot of redundancy and lots more friction than there would be otherwise.
I don't think friction's a big issue there. The
Okay.
issue for me was because it uses those little half axles they're threaded.
Yeah.
I had that screw with it. First of all, that screw is kind of proprietary, so finding
Yeah.
another one like it fit. And I had it come out a couple times, so you would definitely want to Loctite that in. Now, if you're running front wheel cosmetic inserts, if it does come out, you're not going to lose it.
Yeah.
It's going to be captured inside the wheel with a cosmetic insert. So
Yeah,
it's just it's over to me. It's over engineered where I can do virtually the same thing for nothing.
Agreed. That was my thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thanks.
But that's, like I said, that's the only class at Motown or in all of Northern California that we allow independence in, and it's primarily for the cost. Why spend? But they thought it worked well on that car, so they went with it.
I'll have to try it and see if it makes any difference.
Depends on whether you set the car on both front wheels.
With and without, but Braden thought it did, I believe. So we Motown allowed that.
I think it depends on whether you set the car on both front wheels or whether you
even
make them ride slightly high.
You're right. You're correct, Wayne. But even without, when you go around the corner, there's so little friction on the inside tire with a weight transfer. I just don't see it makes much difference.
Me neither.
I can't say it doesn't make any difference, but yeah, that's exactly what we did, Chris.
You're still muted.
He's not necessarily
He's pointing to
speaking.
I assume
the
speaking.
spacer that's soldered in.
Oh, okay, you can see the spacer there.
Yeah, right there.
So that's
he's
soldered
moving,
off.
he's moving his
The wheel
mouse
on
around
that
like he's
side, free
talking. We can't hear him.
Is he there yet?
He's moving
probably
his mouse around like
speaking.
he's talking. Chris, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Otherwise, we'll assume you're miming.
So you see the spacer on the left, that's soldered on.
Yeah.
That wheel
Yeah.
freewheels. The one on the right is attached with a set screw.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And I use the NSR 20,000 spacers because they're pre-cut. They're nice and flush and they're easy to solder on.
Yeah.
You could use brass tubing.
Yeah.
You're still sharing, Chris. Do you want me to stop your share?
I'll let him talk about it.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, I'm going to stop your share.
I'm lost in space.
There we
I
go.
narrated for you when you were muted.
Yeah, if you do that, just make sure you clean the axle where the spacer's gone on. Oftentimes you get a little bit of extra solder going through and the wheel won't spin. So one wheel goes up and spins against the spacer. It rotates freely without a set screw, and you just, as Jim said, you just put the wheel on the other end with a set screw. So it works great. It's easy, cheap.
And then just make sure that one wheel that freewheels is free to freewheel. Sometimes they're a little tight.
Yeah, I just get I mean, obviously clean. I mean, if you don't bother cleaning the axle and polishing it up, the wheel won't spin well. Some wheels, if they're snug, which is a good thing on rear axles, if they are snug, you can run a 3/32 reamer through it and just clean it up a bit, and away you go.
Yeah, it works perfect. It's easy, it's cheap, works great.
Yeah. And a lot less finicky, a lot less set up with stub axles and all the rest of the engineering marketing crap that some of the stuff is out there.
Yeah, and the Slotting Plus one, because it's independent, it can introduce camber into the front. You've got to get it straight, and you don't have the issue with this.
Camber with rock hard front tires and rear tires that are hard. Not quite sure what that means.
Yeah. Well, you've got, because it has two stub axles, you got to make sure they're aligned properly. You can get them out of alignment, which would introduce camber.
Yeah, which you're not trying to gain traction on the front end, so
Right,
why
yeah.
would you bother?
Racing
You guys
past,
all
present, and future. I've just got I've had news that international racing, that's Yona, myself, and Gio, we just entered the Suzuka Double Digital, which takes place between the 23rd and 25th of January. The event was announced a week ago. We just entered. And yeah, we're going back to Eindhoven.
That's cool.
remind us the format. And so it's digital Disca
Yeah,
6, and then how many? It's like two separate races.
it is. It's a Saturday race and a Sunday race. And the Sunday race is the ones that we're very familiar with, the World Endurance Championship, multi-classes, 6-hour endurance in the dark as well. That will go from light to dark and end in the dark. Um, this year, the Saturday races are not digital Disca GT3. There were two 90-minute races for digital GT3s. This year, we're having digital Group C for 1,000 laps.
Nice. That'll
Yeah.
take a while.
1,000 laps won't take I don't know. The guesstimate is around about 3 hours. So it won't be a very long.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Cool. I assume I assume it's going to be slotted Group C, mostly stock with specific wheels and motor
Yeah.
restrictions.
Yeah. The regulations have been published, but they're not Disca regulations. They're just regulations for this event.
Have Disca done a Group C spec?
No,
Didn't think so.
no, never. I've never seen. I've done digital Group C once.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I learned a bit. I learned a bit about it. Suspension was permitted in that one, and it's not for this one. So it's going to be a different challenge, technically.
Is this
But,
on oh, this is Eindhoven. Okay, sorry.
Suzuka Eindhoven.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Group C will be now. This is not alien to the people who race in the Benelux, the Paul Ricard circuit. They've hosted 9-hour Group C races on there. So yeah, they know what to do with them. We have never done it. So if we do any good at all, it'll be because of people like you guys who might give us a nod in the right direction with car choice and things like that. But that's a topic for discussion after the chat, I think.
Got 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we're entered. We're in one. We're going again.
Do they have rules on the Jaguars and whether or not spats are required, or?
There's a maximum track width along the rear axle, and it's the same for all the cars. I think they can run without the spat. Yeah. It's one of the cars that we are considering, but we've not made a decision yet because it's all, it's less than a week old for us at the moment. So we're chucking. We've had a few ideas chucked back and forth, but yeah, I'm going to do some more research before we make a decision
Is it just
because there
slotted
are
wing,
certain
or what cars are allowed?
all of them.
I mean, any brand, or
No, Group C slot its.
okay, so no MR slot cars.
Would you choose one?
I don't know. I mean, but they do make a Group C car.
Okay, yeah, no, they're all slot its. I think. I mean, the oxygen system and the fact that Maurizio goes to these events, they're very, and Disco has always been very slot it because of the oxygen system, hasn't it? But it's never required us to use slotted equipment other than the handout tires. So we've always had all the brands of cars available to us in the WEC.
Can you run any
But
chassis?
any stock chassis,
It has to be
any
stock.
OEM, any OEM chassis. Yeah.
The reason I say that is MR slot car makes a metal chassis for slotted Group C cars.
No, it'll be the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that chassis is, you're running the M16 motors?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patriot chassis is way too heavy for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, there's some interesting regulations, and we'll delve into those a little bit deeper after the chat, perhaps. But yeah, that was the news. We've entered another event. We're going together again.
And
Seems to be a
what's
bit
the
habitual.
track surface, Wayne?
It's Ninko.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ninco, but no suspension.
Yeah.
Remember, one of the things that Alan taught us a while ago is leaving the rear screws loose and the front screws tight, so the pod is the suspension.
Yeah. That's right.
That might
That's
work.
right.
Yeah, looking forward to more info on that, especially car choice. Look at what they did for Electric Dreams. Of course, that was a
And
wood
it's
track.
different though, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
similar
wood
but
track.
different. The fundamentals are similar, but we've got some peculiar regulations. We have got some
I was gonna
peculiar.
say
I
they
don't
probably don't allow the F1 wheels and tires to go under the
nothing
jelly
like
beans.
that. No.
So yeah,
No, we've got prescribed wheel diameters depending on which motor pod you choose to fit, including and then a handout tire. And it's yeah, we've also got some very peculiar ballast. We've got weight limits and we've got some very peculiar ballasting regulations that are going to play into this. But
Weight limits max or weight limits minimum?
minimums. Yeah. So the consideration about, you see, we don't know how much all the body shells weigh, and I know people that will. And I think, before we did make a decision, there's going to have to be a decent conversation. And I don't know that the remaining 15 minutes we've got is the right time, but we'll probably delve into it a bit deeper
Well, Wayne, if you
after.
got any questions, just text me because I know most of what you're looking for, dimensions
I
and all
thought you
that.
might.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
just text me. Because
that's good.
some of the dimensions on the slotted page where they list the guide lead and all that stuff are just flat wrong.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the biggest consideration. I think that really the choice is between 2 or 3 cars, maybe. But we have to register and we have to use OEM liveries, and it's a question of how quickly do we make a decision to choose so as to be able to bag, if you like, one of those liveries.
Just on the surface, I would go with the XJR11
Perhaps so.
or 10. I mean, 10 or 11, basically the same car.
Yeah. Oh, and that means there's more liveries available with basically the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That may relax the pressure a little bit. We've entered, and I don't know what actually. I don't know what. We're certainly not required at this stage to register. I don't think your livery, although you do that with the World Endurance Championship. And in the World Endurance Championship, we are attempting to get together a Scale Auto BMW body shell this time. Geo is already underway with that. We're going to adapt the chassis that we used in the Cadillac in the Paul Ricard circuit to suit the BMW body shell. And Yona and I have already begun. I mean, the adaptation to the body shell is relatively straightforward. Don't yet know exactly how it's going to change things like the wheelbase or the guide lead, because those are the main differences or potential differences. I don't know if it's going to change that. It's certainly going to change the exterior shape a little, probably. Apart from that, there's a few changes that we're making to the motor pod and the chassis that are developments of what we ran underneath the Cadillac body shell, which we wanted to do right from back in June when we experienced the car at Paul Ricard. Even though we did well with it, there were still a few things that we could have tidied up, given another chance. And this is that second chance. So it'll be essentially the same. A few refinements and we'll go again. Hopefully, we'll get if we get a good result in the WEC, that'll be the main objective.
There's a couple of, wouldn't call them absolutes, but in terms of dimensions, the Nissan is the lightest. If you're running,
yeah, we're aware of some of those things, but we don't think that's going to be beneficial because of the regulations.
The Jaguars are the widest. All flavors of Jaguars are wide.
Yeah.
By about 2 millimeters.
But we've got maximum track width regulations, and I think most of the cars will go out to, it might, don't quote me, it might be 62.5, but like you said, if I text you, I'll text you a link to the regs, and then you'll read them yourself, and then, you know, that's the way we'll approach it. But you are one of the people I planned to do that with, if I could possibly do that.
The new Mazda's running really good out here too, but entirely different regulations. But
interestingly, that's the only car I've ever raced with. It was the first generation Mazda, which was one of the first Group C's I think they ever made.
Well, the new one's a totally different car from the ground up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was given a really heavily worn example of the first. It was the white and green livery Mazda 787, and I glued nylon washers to its front axle uprights to set the axle height because it had got no adjustability. It was really, really sloppy in that department as well. So I fixed everything the way I wanted it. And when we went there, we were restricted by the limitations of the rear wing on that thing was awful. The way single screw mount and it couldn't stop it rotating, and he didn't want to glue it on, and all sorts of things like that. And we had it was our
added benefit to the new Mazda. The 767.
Yeah.
If you lock that livery in and you're only allowed one team per livery or one, nobody else can run. There's only one livery. So if you get it, you're the only one that's going to have it.
But it's not yet proven itself, so it's a bit of an experiment for everyone at the moment. That one, we'd rather go. I think
it has out here, but again, it's totally different. Wood track.
Yeah, exactly. It is. There's no reason to suspect it won't be a good one. But there are some really good ones, aren't there? The ones that people choose again and again.
But you would have a unique car that nobody else would have, because if you lock that livery in, nobody else can get it. And if it turns out to be good, you're the only one that has it.
It's going to be fun. It's a new challenge. It's unfortunate in a way because I know Gio was already working on but then again, you know full well he likes his GT3s. He runs GT3s in his club week every week in, week out, doesn't he? And he's always making the next GT3. And he's been working very hard with that Carrera body shell. That Carrera car with what Courtney would know exactly which one it is. Is it 296? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the 296.
The one where some of the body detail is manufactured on the chassis, and so you need to adapt quite heavily to get it to run on aftermarket chassis and things. And he's been working very hard with that.
Working on.
But
we all know that there's only one slot at Group C worth racing.
962. The blue and yellow
That
one. That's the
specific one.
reason.
That's the reason.
Is
Yeah.
that the only
Yes,
blue and
Greg,
yellow
we know your
car?
preferences.
I have a type.
That's another unique livery we might not get repeated. It'd be very interesting to see what the field come up with.
Yeah. Especially since it has to be OEM liveries only,
Yeah.
non-repeated. Yeah. How many teams do you think will sign up?
At least as many as the WEC. Because it's shorter, you might even get more. That used to happen with the GT3s because the GT3 races were only 90 minutes. They only really suited 3 people. And the 6 hour, you could run more people, shall we say. You could do it with 3, and that's how we chose to do it. We would do Saturday and Sunday with 3, but there were teams that would split, shall we say, between Saturday and Sunday. And because the races on Saturday were shorter. And we would get more GT3s, but I think that always posed a problem that didn't really need to exist, quite honestly. And so I'm kind of in support of having a second endurance race rather than these shorter sprints. 90 minutes a sprint. Yeah, you can tell what world I come from, don't you? But so yeah, I suspect there'll probably be historically it's been a full podium. It's been 14 on the podium. I don't know if they'll continue to do that. It was really quite uncomfortable with 14 on the podium, and there was actually a health and safety consideration on that because the last driver was on the L. There's a return on the end of the podium, which is a handrail. And they were sat on the corner of the L of the handrail, which meant that they were kind of a little bit slimmer and we could get the extra people on the podium because of that. But they were sat on the bloody handrail, and if they'd have gone over the handrail, they'd have been on their head on the floor. So I wasn't a massive supporter of that, and the fact that there was only there was a 1 linear meter limitation on the pit space, and when you've got a team of drivers hanging around behind a 1 meter linear pit space, the building's quite full, isn't it?
Yeah. So 14, 13, 14 is good for that track.
I got a question to throw out.
It's maximum.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
I'm working on a video for Thanksgiving, and the title is "You Know You're a Slot Racer If." And it's going to be AI generated video. And what to give you an idea what I'm doing is one of them is that a spouse, spouse comes in, pulls laundry out of the dryer, and there's a lane sticker stuck on a t-shirt. They go, and it's like, he's been slot car racing again. So it's that kind of thing. And if anybody has any ideas, you're a slot racer if, stuff like that. One of them is the family sitting around the dinner table and the father drops a plate on the floor and the son yells track. So it's that kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of stuff I'm looking for. If you have any ideas,
Oh,
I would
nice.
love to hear them.
A big callus right there.
Oh, guy goes to the doctor and he's got his index fingers like twice as big.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'll write that one
down. Always shouting out random colors. Green!
I've got
blue! Red! Damn it!
Another one is when the UPS driver knows you on a first name basis.
Yeah.
And so I've got 5 of them, I think, now. So I love to hear some. I like the one with the trigger finger. That's good.
Did you see that key ring that was released? It was a HO tub track.
Yes, I did. That it's a Christmas ornament.
Christmas
Yeah.
ornament. Yeah. That you recognize
He
what that
also,
is.
if you go on the website, he also makes a 30-second scale track in 30-second scale. So he's got some small accessories like that.
Yep. He might be the same guy that will like do your track in 30-second scale. Like if you send him in drawing of your track, he'll do your track as a decoration for your track
Well, that'd be cool.
in 30
Yeah,
seconds.
he's got an eBay store. That's where I saw the other stuff.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, send me his info.
Dewan
I
wants
can
one.
find it here real quick.
You only have to say, look on, watch Batman.
Exactly.
Smells like wintergreen. That's a deep
Oh.
cut, but that might be you're a slot car racer.
There is Pixelman 2001. That's his name on YouTube on eBay.
Oh,
Is
man.
is he the same one that does the trackside 132nd slot car tracks?
Yeah, yeah. See here.
Let's click his name.
He makes all this stuff.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen some of his.
There's the
Yep,
30-second
yep.
scale track.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you send him a message or find him on Facebook or whatever and say, "Hey, can you do my track?" that he probably
Yeah,
would.
that is so cool.
Doing the tubby tracks was awesome because that's kind of iconic in HO racing.
Mhm.
I've never seen one in person.
I've raced on one. It wasn't an original one. It had a routed inlay in it. So the original tracks were 6-lane plastic, and most of the routed ones are 4 lanes because the spacing is a little bit bigger now for the bigger cars. So the one that I ran on was an original. I don't know if it was an original tub because there are people that knocked them off and made them recently, but it was
Yeah.
a tubby track but with a 4-lane routed inlay.
Like a
Tubby
Viper or
track
a Brad
was.
or something.
Yeah, Brad makes an inlay for them.
That was
And
the
then
name I
on the
couldn't
left
recall,
hand
wasn't
side, it
it?
had the place for the Aurora lap counters, which you don't use anymore.
Yeah.
I saw a thread on that intrigued me. It was about HO track pieces, and somebody said, "What do you do with Tomy HO track nowadays? Do you throw it in the bin?" Anyone else see that?
I don't know
Because
enough about HO track to know what's good track versus bad track.
well, the popular track, if I'm not mistaken, is AFX track.
Lock and
Pretty-
joiner.
pretty
That's,
much,
that's
yeah.
the term I know.
Yeah, lock and joiner was from the 60s, but yeah,
My
they're all
track,
snapped together now.
my HO track, which I've not had out for at least 15 years now, probably, is all Tomy. Sorry, Tyco. And I quite liked it. Tyco's got a slightly wider lane spacing than Tomy has. But I've got a load of brand new in packet Tyco track pieces that I never opened. And I've often wondered, have they got any value? If they had any, it would be over in your country, not mine. But does anybody want Tyco track anymore? Does anybody use plastic sectional with HO, or is it all wood tracks?
No, there's a lot of people
that-
still using it, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what the value is of Tyco.
Mm.
Yeah. The routed tracks are quite expensive. So yeah, most people just piece together a plastic track. Anywho, it's the top of the hour, so I'm going to end the stream. Until next week, everybody wave bye. Clicking the end button. We're waiting for it to end. Says it's over. Wait 10 more seconds.